should you be thinking about crazy ideas like that, or should you be thinking about powering your car from your house? So I'm in the process of planning on. I'm in the planning process of building a house right now, and one of the things that you can do, even in this area, is build a net zero house where you've got geothermal for your heat, and you've got solar that's powering the geothermal, and you can actually sell electricity back to the grid. Sure. And so, are we, instead of thinking about putting wind turbines on our cars, should we be thinking about making our houses more energy efficient so we can power our cars from our houses?
The wind turbine will create additional drag faster than it creates electricity.
Right.
So I mean that's why that's hopeless.
Right. It's ridiculous. Right. But I guess what I'm saying is when I see all of the interesting things that people are doing to heat their houses. I mean, I like keeping my place at 75 degrees even in the winter. Yeah. And in Seattle, 75 degrees in the winter is a $600, $700, $800 heating bill.
That's a luxury.
It's a lot, exactly. But when you've got geothermal powered by solar, you can keep it at 75. You're not paying anything.
Right, that's clearly the way to go. And now you've got your Chevrolet Volt sitting outside with its photovoltaic roof, so that it's maintaining a charge. And one of the things we're actually looking at is programming the Volt with the local schedule of when power is cheapest. The car's computer knows that, and even when you have it plugged in, it will only charge when the power is at its absolute minimum cost. And then if you're on vacation, there's the possibility that you could, when your Volt is in the garage, to where it charges on off-peak, very cheap energy, and sells back to the grid during the daytime. So
your car can make you money.
I know that a large fleet of Chevrolet Volts become an electricity capacitance reservoir.
That's great.
Where they soak up energy during the off-peak hours and help accommodate the peak during the day.
That's great.
How many are you going to sell during the first year?
I think the first full year of production will be 2011, and the plan is to do as many as we can, but realistically that'll probably be about 10,000, and then as we hit the second year we'll be up to 60,000, and from then on nobody knows. If it's sold out the world over, we will obviously add capacity as quickly as we can, and as we alluded to earlier, there will be other brands and other body styles using the same, using very similar componentry.
Well, that brings up a very
interesting... Let me just clear something before you do it. When we say a year, we're talking 12 months.
Right.
We're not talking about January to December. We're
So
talking...
they're not coming out till November. Yeah.
But in 2011, it'll be very close.
It'll be very close to a calendar year.
Because we'll launch production sort of in November 2010. We won't really build that many in 2010. So
it's really
calendar year 11 will be the first big year of full production. And then the question is, how fast can we ramp up? Will we have any production problems? Will we have any supply problems? Will some supplier let us down as we...
The answer is always yes. They're going to have some problems somewhere.
Now, be a Buddhist.
Unfortunately, I'm Jewish, and there is always a problem somewhere.
No. I mean, 60,000 isn't very many vehicles. I mean, they sell 150,000.
You're so right.
Nothing compared to what they used to sell in Mustang.
No, I agree with you. I think it's a conservative figure, but we need to get some experience with technology. And let's face it, the early ones are going to be pretty expensive.
Okay. Are they still thinking mid-30s?
No, I think we're figuring, like right now it looks just below 40. And if we get government incentives, that might bring it down into the mid-30s. But all of the market research we've done predominantly on the West Coast is we've been indicating that it would be around 40, but the demand is still enormously high.
Well, if you can sell Suburbans in the above the price of a Corvette, the standard Corvette, you can sell Volts at the $40,000. I really need to ask you about, because speaking about Corvettes and being a Corvette owner who's had, like many or maybe most Corvette owners, everybody tends to say that they love their cars, they hate the ownership experience, because Chevy dealers, if they have a Corvette expert, their Corvette expert is in name only and service is an absolute nightmare. What are you doing to ensure that the quality of the car is not let down by poorly trained dealers who are not set up to?
Are you talking about the Volt?
To service the Volt, because it is a completely different monster. And you know, when the Corvette people say, "Look, I'm being treated like I own a Cavalier," and getting the same level of service, that's a huge deal at a you know, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 car. That's a slightly different monster. At a $40,000, and if you're talking building a Cadillac, it may be a $80,000 or $90,000 car. You're still getting the same, you know, Chevy Cadillac dealers. What are you going to do to ensure that those they're not let down with an entirely different monster?
Yeah, okay. I mean, let's face it. We only have a relatively modest amount of control over the retail level. We can't coerce them. We can't pull the franchise. I mean, our leverage is relatively limited because there is no such thing as factory to use selling.
Sure.
And dealers are a bell-shaped curve. I think most of them are okay in the middle, and then there's a tail at one end that is super outstanding and exemplary, and there's a tail at the other end which is lousy.
The dealers that I've gone to.
You've probably been unlucky, but I mean, it's a mixed bag, and we can't even, we're despondent over failed efforts to get some sort of standardized method of treating customers or standardized dealer ethics. And basically, every dealer is his or her own entrepreneur, and they'll run it the way they see fit.
But in terms of, I'm sorry to cut you off, but just to
by the way, this is a problem that's rampant throughout the industry. It's
right,
not specific to General Motors.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've had, you know, I've had Fords, I've had all kinds of cars.
Shame on you.
It was the worst car I ever owned, quite honestly.
What was it?
I had a '98 Expedition. It was actually given to me. That's the only reason, and it was the worst vehicle I've ever owned.
Was it the Eddie Bauer edition?
It was not.
That's got really.
If only it had been Eddie Bauer, you would have been okay.
Yeah, Eddie Bauer makes all the difference.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that
It blows bubbles out the tailpipe, plants daisies.
It skis.
in terms of, I understand that, you know, there are laws in place, you know, factory
State by state.
state by state. But if you say go to, you know, BMW dealerships, and I've never actually understood this, but Jaguar gets really high ratings, but I've found Jaguar not just personally, but personally and by other market research data to be pretty miserable dealerships. But BMW tends to send up as way more organized, better customer satisfaction. Yes, it's a higher price point, but it's from service standpoint that they, you know, that the training, and it may just be a factor they don't have as many cars to do, but they actually do have a fair number of cars and technology
Look
and
at the
engines.
money those guys are breaking in on. I mean, just the parts on those cars.
Yeah, but they also have to. Most of those parts are sourced from other places as well. So
All right, guys, but we're a little bit outside my area here.
Okay.
Because,
Oh, that's fine.
My background is sales and marketing, but I haven't practiced it for about 20 years. So and the fact that I don't know about something usually does not inhibit me from commenting on it.
But one question related to this though is kind of one of the conspiracy theories in that movie that Who Killed the Electric Car was that the dealers killed it because they weren't making any money off servicing
Oliver
it.
Stone does not live at this address.
But in any case, what are the dealers going to get to do with the Volt? What kind of servicing are they going to get to get?
Well, first of all, there's going to be that's a good question, but yeah, you can give me a little answer. But there's going to be tires, there's going to be brakes, even though brakes probably relatively modest because of regen braking. But there's going to be service required for the gearbox. The piston engine is going to require service, and very important, we've got to call people into the dealership about every 3 months to clean out that gas tank or replace the fuel, because otherwise
Because it's just sitting for so long.
Yeah, people-
Especially
They
in
can-
California
they can
with
use that
the
visual.
auctionated fuel.
Seriously,
where it goes
that's